Aloha! If you're a contractor working here in Hawaii, you know there's a lot to keep track of. Licensing, insurance, the whole deal. But you know the rules around contractor bonds? Well, they can be really confusing. So in this explainer, we're going to clear all that up and tell you what you really need to know about bonds in the Aloha state.
Okay, let's get right to the biggest question on everyone's mind. It's the first thing contractors ask, and for good reason. Before you spend a dime, you need to know, is a surety bond an absolute must-have to get your contractor's license here in Hawaii?
And the answer, which might surprise you, is no, not always. See, unlike a lot of other states where it's just a simple yes or no, Hawaii's rule has a little more to it. This is where a lot of people get tripped up, so let's break down exactly how this works.
It really all comes down to what's called the discretionary bond rule. And the key is hidden in the legal language the state uses, specifically in the difference between two little words, may versus shall.
So what does discretionary really mean for you? Well, it means the Hawaii Contractor State License Board, the CSLB, has the option to require a bond, but it's not an obligation. They decide this on a case-by-case basis, basically looking at your company's financial health and your professional track record.
And this is a really crucial distinction. The law in Hawaii says the board may require a bond. In other states, the law often says they shall require one. That one word changes everything. Because it's an individual assessment here, most contractors actually end up getting their license without ever needing to post a bond at all. Okay, so if a bond isn't always required, what is? That's easy. Insurance. This is the one thing that is absolutely 100% non-negotiable for every single licensed contractor in the state of Hawaii. To get your license and to keep it, you've got to carry both general liability and workers' comp insurance. When you send in your application to the DCCA, you have to include proof of this coverage. There's no way around it. For the state, this is the main way they make sure all contractors are financially responsible.
Now hold on, because there is one really big exception where bonding is not optional. If you're planning to bid on public works projects, things like schools, roads, or government buildings, the rules change completely. And that's all thanks to something called Hawaii's Little Miller Act.
Yep, for any kind of public works contract, that discretionary rule we were just talking about, it goes right out the window. The state has a very clear, very strict set of requirements in place to protect taxpayer money and make sure these important projects get finished.
It's 100%. A 100% performance and payment bond is required on all public projects. And here's the thing that makes Hawaii's rule even stricter than most. There's no minimum contract amount. It doesn't matter if the job is big or small. If it's a public project, you need that bond, period. Okay, so if we put all of this together, what does the path to getting your license actually look like? Let's quickly walk through the different license types and the main steps you'll need to take. First things first, you need to know your classification. There are three main types. You've got Class A for general engineering, think big infrastructure stuff. Then there's Class B for general building contractors, which covers commercial and residential buildings. And finally, Class C, which is for all the specialty trades like electrical, plumbing, roofing, you name it. The path itself is pretty straightforward. You'll fill out the application, pass your trade exam, and then get that mandatory insurance locked in. The final step is really just waiting for the board to review everything. Only then will they let you know if they also require you to get a license bond. So let's say you're one of the contractors who is asked to get a bond. The next questions are obvious. How much is it for, and what's it going to cost me? Let's take a look at the numbers. If the board says you need a bond, the total coverage amount will be somewhere between $5,000 and $20,000. They'll decide the exact amount based on their assessment of your business. But here's the most important part. You don't pay that full amount. Your cost is just a small percentage of it, called the premium.
This table gives you a pretty good idea of what that looks like. For someone with good credit, the annual premium is usually just 1 to 3% of the bond amount. So for a $10,000 bond, you're looking at paying somewhere between $100 and $300 for a full year of coverage. It's actually surprisingly affordable. And there you have it. That's how contractor bonds really work in Hawaii. So whether the board requires one for your license or you're getting ready to bid on a public project, you know that getting bonded is a quick and simple process. Get your surety bond quote in minutes at buysuretybonds.com.